A major reason why nice guys finish last is because when a woman is done with her proverbial bad boy phase and the desire to be a wife and a mother start weighing heavy on her, she'll want to come back and settle down with a good man to start her life with. A nice guy is usually the last man she settles down with. If you're a man who's described as sweet, sensitive, soft, or shy, the vast majority of girls won't be attracted to you. For men, being labeled with these characteristics are not desirable traits in the eyes of the majority of women. Societal norms and expectations portraying these traits as weaker or less attractive in men doesn't help any either. Most women like emotionally unavailable men. We as humans tend to want what we feel that we can't have. We want what's just out of reach for us. Most of the time, you'll find that women even themselves don't know why they're attracted to men like this. You'll hear them say things like, I don't know, it's just something about him.
She showers you with affection and attention, making you feel comfortable and attached to her. Then she catches you off guard with the disappearing act. Going goes, conversations seem dry, her demeanor starts to give off very much cold shoulder vibes. That's when those answers start sounding like this. I'm fine. Okay, nothing. Yeah, I'm busy. Talk to you later. You don't realize it, but she's getting you hooked. Now you're sitting there like an addict, messaging, asking what's wrong. You want to see her, buying gifts to try to fix whatever you think is happening in an effort to get her attention and affection again.
She'll paint herself as the victim in every single situation, no matter how things actually played out. It's a trap designed to manipulate your sense of responsibility. You end up playing the rescuer, putting her needs first while sacrificing your own, bringing a third party into the dynamics of your relationship to validate her point. She does this as a way of gaining an ally or making you feel like you're at a disadvantage and outnumbered. This could be her friends or her family or even another man who she knows likes her. Women will act distant or stop responding to texts to see how desperate you get. The moment you start double texting or chasing her for attention, you've already lost. Women will test men to see what they're able to get away with and what you're not willing to tolerate in a relationship. A lot of men are scared to disagree with a woman because they think that it'll turn her off. But when you disagree with something, it shows that you're an independent thinker and strategic about when you voice your opinions and what you voice them about. Don't argue with every single point because then you come off as combative.
Women know how to have you worry, blaming yourself, etc., all while they're all smiles watching you wonder what the hell you even did wrong. Guys have almost been programmed to believe that if their lady is keeping to herself, then something must be wrong. Your brain automatically goes into panic mode and you start thinking if you missed her birthday or anniversary or if it's something else that you forgot or something that you did wrong. Now the next thing you know that you're trying to make up for something that you didn't even do to begin with. Women do this to try to keep you on your toes. It's a way to make sure that you don't get too comfortable and start taking her for granted. It's a scare tactic to have you constantly thinking about her and start panicking because you feel that you might be losing her.
Don't give away everything. Leave parts of the story untold or end them on a cliffhanger. This makes her want to hear more and keeps her thinking about what else there is to know about you. When a woman receives a substantial amount of attention, she feels it equates to self-worth and self-validation. If she doesn't have a strong sense of security within herself. If you don't assert your dominance and masculinity, a woman will run over you. Once a woman perceives you as weak, your attraction level greatly diminishes in her eyes.
Telling a woman she's your everything is the fastest way to destroy your own value. You hand over all your power and put her on a pedestal. Now she's looking down at you. Women don't respect that. They're wired to be drawn to a man who stands on his own, not one who revolves his whole world around her. She'll lose respect for you and you'll lose control over the situation. Never put her above yourself.
The main thing all women want is security.
She suddenly flirts with other men or constantly mentions how much attention she's getting from other guys. She's planting the seeds of doubt in your mind. This is not accidental. She's deliberately creating insecurity and making you feel like that you're the one in constant competition. So what ends up happening? You end up chasing her approval, always trying to prove that you're better than the other men she's talking about. It's designed to keep you on edge, compete for her validation, and gives her all the power and authority in the relationship.
Let me tell you something about women today and their rules for dating. Think of every rule as an obstacle she wants you to jump through in order to get to her. The more attractive she thinks you are, the fewer obstacles she'll put between you and her. The cold reality is this: women make rules for one man and break them for another. From something as simple as who pays for the meal to having sex on the first date to whether or not protection is even used. Women will have a laundry list of rules until they meet a man they don't don't want to risk losing because of those rules they set in place. That's because those rules aren't principles set in stone. They're, at best, guidelines for the man that she truly wants.
Mirroring is when someone copies the characteristics and traits of someone else. This could be through body language. This could be through verbal and physical habits, attitudes, tendencies, etc. I have a separate video on mirroring that goes in further detail, but basically they evaluate what you need in a relationship so they can pose as a perfect match for you. The problem is that it's never truly genuine. It's a tactic they use to bring your guards down in order to easier fulfill whatever agenda they have.
As I've said in previous videos, because of biological signaling and biomarkers, a woman has an innate resistance to want to have sex very frequently.
A woman's greatest power in dating is her sexual allure, but it's also one of her only powers. That means the more she desires a man, the more assertive she tends to be in offering up her sexuality to that man to keep him interested. Meanwhile, for a guy who doesn't fit the bill, a woman will keep her sexuality tightly guarded and close and make him jump through hoops in order to get it.
When she sees your growth, it not only makes you more attractive to her, but it also makes her realize what she's missing out on.
There are too many men these days that ask themselves why women don't go for nice guys like them, and instead are chasing after those that couldn't care less about giving her the time of day. Here's a contradictory truth that they don't even realize. Women are attracted to a man that they cannot control. It doesn't matter how much you do for her, run circles around her, bend into her every whim. It doesn't matter how much you switch up your life and schedules just to be with her. Just the fact that she can make you do those things in the first place is what majorly kills the attraction she could have for you. And here's why. When a woman tries to control you, even covertly, like manipulating you into agreeing with her just to gain her approval, it signals to her that you're a man she can dominate. And if that's the case, she goes cold, cuts off communication, and withholds affection, leaving you in emotional limbo. It's designed to create discomfort, making you feel like that you're the one that needs to fix things.
Women will test men to see what they're able to get away with and what you're not willing to tolerate in a relationship.
Women will act distant or stop responding to texts to see how desperate you get. The moment you start double texting or chasing her for attention, you've already lost. Women don't want a man who needs constant validation. The trick to passing this test is to mirror her energy. If she pulls away, you pull away.
When a woman receives a substantial amount of attention, she feels it equates to self-worth and self-validation. If she doesn't have a strong sense of security within herself, a woman's ego is much more fragile than a man's because of the society that we live in. A woman puts the most effort into how she looks. Everything else comes second. This is why hair, nails, and makeup are multi-billion-dollar industries. Women fish for attention in both covert and overt ways. This is why you have some women who will just blatantly expose themselves. Then you have others who will post the, "Oh, I'm just working out" pic. Meanwhile, she's showing her whole body in the clips on social media. Bottom line, attention is a woman's biggest currency. The 10th reality is she usually won't be able to match her sex drive.
This is how love bombing looks. Day 1, you're so handsome. Day 2, oh my God, we have so much in common. Day 3, I don't usually fall for someone this fast. Day 4, I just feel like we're meant to be together. Day 5, I love you. By the end of this process, you're falling hard, and she's got you exactly where she wants you, fully invested in her and extremely vulnerable. Be extremely careful out here, guys. There's a lot of women out to do you dirty and manipulate you for personal gain because they believe that's all men are good for anyway.
Because natural selection has conditioned her mind to equate sex with pregnancy and the biological and social complications that arise from it. This is why women typically have a substantially lower sex drive than men. So you will be hard pressed to find a woman who can actually match your sex drive long term.
Surveys from dating sites like Love Honey have reported over 2/3 of men in America are willing to have sex on the first date. And there's no surprise there. But while 61% of women said that it's off the table, when shown a picture of an attractive man and asked again, 97% recanted. Almost all of them were willing to break their rule for a guy they found sexually compatible.
Women today will demand that you respect them right before asking you to subscribe to their OnlyFans to watch them shake their ass on camera for $4.99 a month. Women will twist all societal beauty standards to fit their 40-inch waist, but then go on to hold men to impossibly high expectations in their looks, money, and social status. I mean, just look at the modern fat acceptance movement and you'll see how it's basically just a female-led cultural tide that rarely accepts fat men in their standard of beauty or health. Google the word fat model and you'll see what I'm talking about. Initially, she shows you a ton of affection and promises of a future together. Once you're emotionally invested, she pulls back. The goal? To get you to chase and invest more into the relationship while she holds all the power. You will be used for what you lead with. As you interact with a woman, she will assess your strengths and weaknesses and determine what you have to offer along the way. It's important to be fully aware and cognizant of the fact that if you put on a strong emphasis on showcasing your wealth and status, you will be seen as a source of material benefits with little to nothing more to offer because you have set the stage for that. It's similar to a woman who dresses very provocatively, does things for attention, and presents herself as easy. She sets the stage for men to view her as nothing more than what she's showing. On the other hand, if you lead with a no-nonsense authoritative demeanor, but also someone who displays your true self, showing genuine intentions and authenticity, she will be more likely to be appreciative and value you for who you are.
If she's constantly busy or tired, it's not her schedule that's tight, it's her interest in you that's slipping away. Women make time for what they value. If she's making time for everything else and everybody else except you, it's because she doesn't see the value in spending time with you anymore.
Because nice guys have the stigma of being boring and predictable, they are a major turnoff for the majority of women because they want to be with someone who demands respect, doesn't tolerate anything less than what he deserves, and leads without intimidation.
When you strip human relationships down to their biological essence, women prioritize their own well-being and that of their children, often above the man, unless he remains a crucial factor for their survival. Now, this isn't a very comfortable thought, but it's a reality that's grounded in our evolutionary past. There's a reason why men have been labeled the disposable sex. Throughout history, in the brutal calculus of survival and warfare, men were the expendable frontliners. If the fighting age men of a tribe were lost in battle, the surviving women and children's best chance at survival was to integrate with the victors, even marrying the men who defeated their own. This stark reality underpins a ruthless realism where behaviors driven by survival needs take precedence over everything else.
A woman knows that there's a heavy responsibility on men to ensure that their woman is happy and well taken care of. She plays on that to get what she wants, or when she wants to get your emotions under her control. Guilt tripping you almost immediately changes any situation to work in her favor. Do you know how many men know something is off in their relationship? The signs are there that she's being unfaithful, but she throws a tantrum, or she turns on waterworks, or she blames the man for being insecure or controlling. And what does the man do? He starts questioning if he's tripping or if he's thinking too deep about obvious signs that he's seeing. Then he's apologizing to her to make her feel better when she knows that he was right all along.
If you find yourself always paying the bill, whether it's for dinners, birthdays, or even during the holidays, if you're the one who's always going above and beyond with gifts while she barely lifts a finger, then it's a classic case of take, with you playing the giver nonstop. And what do you get in return? Maybe a thank you text if you're lucky? This is what's known as a reciprocity imbalance. In a healthy relationship, there's a give and take dynamic that's pretty much equal. But here, you're on the losing end of this imbalance. You give, she takes. It's as simple as that. This isn't just an unfair setup, it's a manipulation tactic once again.